want to welcome everyone to this segment of Mountaineer Farm Talk. My name is JJ Barrett, and I'm the Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources right here in Wood County, West Virginia. Of course, I have my co-host with me. I've got Evan Wilson down in Mason. What's up, Evan?
Doing good, JJ. Going to be a good weekend down here in our neck of the woods, hopefully, and throughout the state. We got a garden-based learning type program going on tomorrow morning with some people from Capital Conservation District, working with some teachers up that way, and get some ideas in the region what works and what doesn't work in their school systems. And then we got the big Mountaineer game tomorrow night against BYU, and then we got high school football throughout the state tonight, and the Point Pleasant Black Knights soccer boys teams, they play for state championship tomorrow night. So hopefully a good weekend and get some fence built on Sunday.
Sounds like you're going to be busy. My other co-host, Brandy Brabham, she is down in Roane County. Brandy, how are you this morning?
Doing well, just getting adjusted to this cool weather. It's kind of brisk down here, but it is shaping up to be a nice weekend. So we do have a lot of plans on the farm to get some fence repairs done, get some wood gathered up, and couple calves we still got to round up and get in. So we're going to be busy. And as Evan said, Friday night football. So we've got to travel to the northernmost part of the state this afternoon. So Oak Glen is the northernmost high school in West Virginia in New Cumberland. So Hancock County, here we come.
That's a drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is. Today we have a couple special guests with us. We are going to be talking about the 2023 West Virginia Women in Ag Conference, which is going to be down in Canaan Valley Resort down in Davis, West Virginia. And of course, the WVU Extension Service has a Women in Agriculture team, and we have a few members of that team with us. We've got Jennifer Friend. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm doing good this morning.
And we've got Emily Morrow and her partner.
Hey, JJ, my personal assistant here.
Yeah, your assistant. Okay. And then we've got Daisy Bailey. She's just getting on here.
Hi, guys.
Good morning, Daisy.
So first off, of course, I guess we'll have to go to Jennifer. This is her first time on the program. Give us a little bit background on what's going on with the Small Women in Ag Conference this year, why you chose Canaan Valley, and some of the events that are going on there.
So something I think is really special about the Women in Ag Conference is that it moves around the state. And so we are able to highlight agriculture all around West Virginia with this conference. And so that's part of the reason why we chose Canaan. And then I think personally, I'm really excited about the tours. I had a really hard time choosing what tour I wanted to go on because I have interest in both horticulture and livestock production. And I think we're lined up to have a really great conference this year.
Yeah, and is there a deadline for the sign up? How much does it cost for this conference, and how many days is it?
The conference is on Friday, November 17th and Saturday, November 18th. Emily or Brandy can probably help me out a little bit better on the cost and the sign up deadline, because I do not remember that off the top of my head.
So our cost for the conference is $115. We've passed our early bird period, which keeps it under $100. That usually expires about a month before the conference. And we like to encourage people to sign up as soon as possible, but we will take signups up until about 3 days before. In some cases, we've had a couple walk-ins, but obviously having people sign up if you're on the fence about it helps us plan for meals and tours and all those other fun details that come with running a conference as well. I'll also say the conference kicks off at noon on Friday with farm tours, and then Saturday is the day of educational sessions. So I've loved farm tours. That is my favorite part about the conference because I like to hear from other women and see things, how they do things. I think us women are visual people. We like to see it in practice before we take it back to our own farms.
Sure. We'll just, JJ, before we move on from the registration cost, I will just say we have a special student cost of $60. And then if somebody just wants to come for the tours, we have a separate price for that. And then students, if they just want to come on the tours, we give a discount for them as well. So go to our website on the extension page at oh, I just lost the site, at extension.wvu.edu, conferences/WIA, which stands for Women in Agriculture. And that'll kind of give you not only the agenda, but the place to register and things. So you can see the different price breakdowns.
So Emily, you just, or was it Jennifer, you said there was two different tracks for those tours. You got horticulture and livestock. What are y'all highlighting on those tours? Where y'all going? Where y'all seeing?
Yeah, so I know on the livestock tour, there are some stops to look at different grazing practices, as well as some other stops along the way. Horticulture has a big agritourism focus this year. And so I think that's really exciting because there's been a push for agritourism in the state. And I think it's really exciting to see the way different people are educating folks about agriculture, as well as some UPIC farms that we're going to be visiting.
And I think that the UPIC was Buena Vista, right? And what?
Yeah.
We've had
Evan,
them
this is
before.
Daisy.
Yeah, hey, Daisy.
The work tour, you're going to go to May Tree Farms, which is a Christmas tree operation. Bona Vista, which is UPIC strawberries and a lot of other produce. And then they also have value-added beef, cattle, and poultry houses as well. And then we're going to LRC B&B, which is an agritourism and an educational working farm experience. So those are those three stops with the horticulture.
Awesome.
Sounds pretty cool. What is LRC B&B? Assuming
it's I can't remember what it stands for. Let me bring that up.
Daisy, I know that while you're looking that up, were you one of the original? How long has WVU been doing this program? A little bit of maybe a background of how it got started, and how this conference came about. You didn't have a conference right away after you started this program, did you?
So it's funny that you asked that because I always think about it. But when I came to West Virginia in 2012, they were just getting started with Annie's Project. I think we offered Annie's Project the next winter. So winter of 2013, 2013. And then the Women in Ag Conference came within a couple years after that. Maybe Brandy could.
Yeah, it was
I can
next
never
year.
remember it. Was it
Yeah.
2014? Was it okay? 2014 was our first year. I knew it wasn't the same year we started Annie's Project, but it was started within a couple years of that. So we're getting close to that 10-year mark.
That's
And
pretty
when we
cool.
say we've been around the state, we've been around the state. We've been in the Northern Panhandle. We've been to Canaan once before in 2015. So this is our second time at Canaan. We've spent a couple of times at Stonewall in the central part of the state. We've been at Glade Springs a couple of times in the southern part of the state. So we really work hard to try to make it accessible and easy for people all across the state to attend, because we know it's a big commitment to be able to attend an event off farm.
And we've really tried to get it over in the Mid-Ohio Valley. That's where we're located, and we just can't find a venue that will accommodate the numbers that we typically have at the conference. So if we can find a venue big enough to hold us, we like to rotate and get there.
Yes, and I don't know if Brandy or Daisy can handle this question. Who is the? I'm looking on the website. Tell us a bit about the keynote speaker. I know that they always help to kind of kick off a conference. Who is that? What's a little bit about their background, and why should we be excited about them coming here to West Virginia?
I think Jennifer helped with the educational track, so maybe she could talk a little bit about the keynote speaker.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our keynote. It's Kim Nixon with Glenmary Farm in Virginia, and they have a pretty diversified operation, and they do cattle as well as some selling meats, and then they also do some row crops as well. And then they have some turkey houses, so they're pretty diversified. And so I think it's really exciting to hear from her. And her daughter is also going to be speaking as part of the livestock track. So get that multi-generational aspect as well.
Okay, so Kim Nixon, and she is her farm in Virginia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, she's in Orange County, Virginia. So she's actually pretty close to us. She's not someone that's a typical public keynote speaker rotation. So she is a true farmer. And that's what I'm most excited about to hear from someone. She's hosted events on her farm before, so this isn't her first go around, but she's not someone that makes that keynote rotation like sometimes other conferences might feature.
Oh yeah, it's saying they farm 10,000 acres. Wow. Have 15 employees. They sell turkeys, raise hens for Cargill. Wow.
Yeah, I think I've been to that farm now. Remembering back to my days there.
What's their farm name?
Glen Mary.
Okay,
Yeah.
Glen Farms. Cool.
They have been a tour stop for other extension programs we've done. Some of our agents in the Potomac Valley do a beef tour with their farm credit. And that's kind of how we discovered her, because they visited their farm on a tour they did with other producers.
And Evan in his former life working with the poultry. So
I'm pretty sure I've been there. It was one of the new houses that was coming on.
Oh. Brandy, maybe I know that this is maybe the third time that the folks that we've been promoting the Women in Ag Conference, but give us a little bit of history about Annie's project, who it's named after, and what kind of I know we call it Women in Ag, but originally it was called Annie's Project, or it's a partnership with that program. Maybe give us a little bit of a background about the story behind that and how that got started.
So back in 2011, we we had been attending Women in Agriculture conferences since 2010. That was the first Women in Agriculture conference I went to. That was in Baltimore, and they had the program Annie's Project. And I went to one of those classes, and it was originally started by Ruth Hamilton, and I'm thinking it was Iowa or Illinois. I always get confused on where she originated from, but the concept was that her mother actually had to operate the farm by herself after they lost her father, and there's a lot of different aspects of managing risk that came out of that experience, and Ruth kind of worked to develop a program around her mother's experiences, which cover the 5 areas of risk, which involve production. Let me see if I get it all. Production, marketing,
Record keeping,
financial risk, legal risk, and human resources. So that's where Annie's Project is kind of evolved around. And then it was developed as a 6-week course, and it was for small groups of women, 15 to 20 women, to get together and feel comfortable in an extension program, asking questions. Our traditional audience, of course, is more male dominated. Not that Annie's Project would exclude any gender, but the fact that women, once they get together, they learn a little differently. So just getting a format that speaks to their style of learning, that really discussion-based workshops and networking, and that's really what has made Annie's Project a success. We actually just had a conference down in St. Louis to celebrate 20 years of Annie's Project across the nation. So we're one of many states that offer this program, and out of that just kind of was a natural shift into getting all our Annie's Project cohorts together. So after we did a couple courses in 2012, 2013, in 2014, we got this conference off the ground to bring these people together to network on a larger scale across the state. And it's just been a very successful program running almost 10 years now in West Virginia. And we're hoping to continue to grow that and offer some more Annie's Project cohorts to build our clientele and get more education out there. But really the primary objectives of our women in agriculture efforts is education, collaboration, leadership, and economic prosperity. So we really, that's our mission. And I think we've really made a lot of impacts throughout the years working with farm families, because you realize the women that and men that come to our conference have farm families that they bring this information back to and utilize it to improve their practices.
Yeah, I want to go back to Daisy. I guess I'm going to go to everyone on this question. Why should some women in West Virginia, give me some reasons why they should come to this conference in down in the Canaan Valley? What are some reasons that would promote the conference to me?
I think one of the reasons a lot of the women are drawn to the conference is to meet like-minded people that are trying to do the same things they're doing. And a lot of times women in agriculture, we're a little bit isolated, especially if they're mostly working on the farm, or even if they have a job away, they're typically rushing back to the farm to do something. And connecting with somebody else that is doing that across the state, that they can reach out to and get advice and network with, is one of the major benefits of this conference.
Well, yeah, I agree. Any kind of a lot of these conferences, it's the networking, meeting people, sharing ideas.
Well, we've seen a lot of partnerships grow out of those connections. Once they meet up at something like this and then they keep contacting, it develops into a marketing relationship, or just further benefits both entities and in those networking connections they make.
And I want to move to Emily on that. How would you promote this conference to some of our citizens here in West Virginia? Why should I come to the Women in Ag Conference?
I would kind of mirror what Daisy said. While there's a lot of educational value that comes out of the conference, largely it's just being able to be around like-minded people. Sorry about my assistant. He's making a little noise.
Okay.
But women oftentimes feel a little bit more comfortable asking harder questions and asking things, just getting clarification, and when they're around other women, especially when they're around other women that share their same experiences and they know they're going through the same things as they are. So that really just kind of fosters that networking, that camaraderie. And a lot of times they get to meet neighbors too. Like Daisy said, sometimes we're isolated on the farms, even if we are working off the farm. And maybe you get to meet someone that's just a couple counties over from you that you didn't know before, and you can continue that relationship and learn from each other throughout the whole year, not just the 2 days that the conference lasts.
Yeah, I want to move to Jennifer on this question as well. Jennifer, promote the conference to me. What are some reasons why some people around West Virginia should attend?
Yeah, I think kind of like Emily and Daisy and Brandy have all said, the huge benefit is the networking aspect of it. And one thing that I think is really great about it is, if they have a customer that comes up to them and says, hey, I need this, or do you know somebody that produces this? Well, the networking part of it, they can share customers with those fellow producers as well. And I think that's a added benefit of it, as well as getting more consumers and customers to different women farmers as well, from that communicating of the participants at the conference.
So one other thing, JJ, before we move on, is I like the fact that we have those vendors also that come from many different agencies across the state and in the agriculture and natural resources realm. So we do have that opportunity for vendors to set up, and our conference participants to go and visit with them and get information about their programs and activities that they can sign up for, get involved, that can help them, provide resources to them. And the other thing I like, in addition to all the other things mentioned, is the fact that we have different tracks. So we have a horticulture track, a livestock track, which we talked about those on the tours. But in addition to that, we also have different tracks. One is specific about finance. The other one is a woodlot management. And those change each year that we offer the conference, in the fact that different interests, different specialties. When we find out that there's a trend, we might get a speaker about that topic for our conference, and based off of our evaluations too, of what our past conference participants have asked for as well. So I really like that we mix it up a bit.
Yeah, there looks like you have a really unique and exciting bunch of speakers and topics for all those different tracks, and we'll talk about those. And I want to start with Emily. Maybe I'll ask each of you. Emily, what was your role in conference planning? Was there a specific part that you were in charge of?
Yes, so I serve as the conference chair, which is just a fancy way of saying I heard the cats. So I primarily communicate with the conference center about our logistic needs. We need certain meeting space. We offer room blocks for participants as well. And then I make sure that we all have monthly meetings with each of our respective committees, which I'll let the other ladies talk about their role in those. Just to make sure everybody's on task and we're getting all of our needs met to hold the conference on time.
Yeah, and speaking of that, how much are the hotel rooms? How many people do you think are going to come to this conference, and how many have came in the past?
We typically plan for about 150. That includes extension folk, and then our exhibitors or other government agencies as well. We end up with usually about 100 active farmer participants. We do work with the hotel to get a room block, but that does expire ahead of the conference too. So rooms right now, if you were to book, are running at about just shy of $120. If you were to book before our room block rate expired, it would have been under $100.
Wow, that's good. Daisy, tell us a little bit about what you do to plan for the conference.
So my role in the conference is I was on the tours committee this year and helped line up some of those agriculture tours that were taken on Friday afternoon. And then I am also a co-chair of the hospitality committee. So I've helped come up with all the meals and sourcing all the local stuff, all the local food that we can to supply those meals to the hotel at Canaan.
Cool. What are some of the local foods that you sourced? What are we having to eat here?
Okay, so Friday evening, we're actually going to have some pork loin and potatoes and seasonal vegetables and those type of things. Just a really good wholesome dinner. And then, of course, we're going to have a traditional breakfast with all the good eggs and sausage and bacon and biscuits and those type of things. For lunch, we're actually going to have it's kind of a spinoff of like a soup salad and sandwich luncheon, but instead of traditional lunch meat sandwiches, we're going to have lamb burgers and beef burgers, and we're going to have different types of flavored brats and stuff like that, along with a chili and also a butternut squash soup as well, and then a seasonal salad that we put together. So
Nothing like a good lamb burger.
Yep.
Or some people have never had it before, but pretty good stuff. Sounds
last year was the first year we put lamb on the menu, and it went over really well. We had an awesome lamb stew that Glade Springs chef put together for us. So we're excited to try to encompass as many meats as we can into our local cuisine. Cool.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have. You talk about goat and lamb. I don't think they've actually ever tried it. So, and I think that's pretty awesome. Jennifer, what was your role in planning for the conference?
So I am serving as co-chair of the education committee. So I helped with identifying our keynote speaker. And then I also contacted some speakers. I was specific for the livestock track speakers this year.
And of course, if people are wanting to come either before or afterwards, who can help me? Are there some other things to see around Canaan Valley? I know it's a pretty far trek for us in the Mid Ohio Valley, but I know that they have the ski resort, or so there's some other things to see around there, that area.
Yeah, I actually saw yesterday where they're starting to make snow for the ski slopes. So if people are interested in doing that, I'm not sure if that will be available then, but they are making snow now. And then Blackwater Falls is really close. It's just a really short drive from Canaan as well. And Canaan itself is a really beautiful place to go as well, and just see what Canaan Valley has to offer, and get those good views in as well.
Yeah, a couple years ago we went for the at that time it was called the Cattlemen's College, and we watched a black bear through the big glass windows walk down through the woods. So that's kind of cool for our kids.
So we are having the Mountaineer Stockman conference up there December 8th as well. So I know skiing will be open then, because a lot of times my family will go up to participate in that conference and then take in skiing at Timberline usually. But yeah, I just love going up there to the mountains. It's beautiful in that part of our state, and Canaan also has an ice skating rink. So, and besides just the sightseeing, you know, Blackwater Falls and Canaan itself, there's a lot of recreational things that you can do.
Are you going ice skating, Brandy?
I have before. I don't know if I'll actually get to. I'm pretty busy during the conference, so I doubt I'll get to slip away and ice skate. But
the rink will actually be open.
yeah, I think so. They keep it open.
And Canaan has a ski slope, but so does, like Brandy mentioned, neighboring Timberline. My family actually goes and spends a week there, usually in February, and takes in the ski slopes. Usually we pop over to Blackwater Falls for some snow tubing too, which is a lot of fun. And the towns of Thomas and Davis have really great food.
Yeah, there's a lot of good little eateries and restaurants and pubs and stuff that popped up over the last 15 years in that area.
When we were trying to sell the conference, I don't know why we didn't bring up local foods, because that's one of my favorites too, just eating the local foods from our West Virginia producers. That's a really unique aspect of our conference. We try really hard to source those foods that Daisy heads up for us.
Yes, and our hospitality committee does a great job of sourcing. I think she told us the other day, pretty much 90% of the food is sourced locally, which is a phenomenal feat.
Cool. I'm just thinking back to Evan. I thought you were going to say that the black bear tried to walk in the resort or something. I was like, I bet that was exciting.
He probably wasn't registered for the conference.
He had to pay a late fee, but
that's one walk-in we might have to reject. I'm sorry.
They said he was an unbearable guest and turned him away.
I think there's some deer up there at Canaan that would walk through the doors if they
absolutely.
There were some last year that came up really close. Like they were right at the windows during the quiz bowl at the Stockman's College last year that came to visit.
Well, that's the wildlife right there. Maybe tell us a little about the Brandy, who was in charge of getting some of the speakers. I'm just looking over here at the
as Jennifer mentioned, they have a committee, the education committee, that works on that. So we try to get those speakers secured early, and we look for experts in the field as well as producers. So we got this, producers share their stories session where they have a group discussion about, challenges that they've kind of faced in their business and how they've overcome that and tried to stay profitable, and just some innovative ideas that they have utilized. So I think they do a great job. My job as part of the committee is just getting the heading up the communications committee and getting the word out about the conference and encouraging people to attend, getting that excitement going. So work with a lot of our partners to promote the conference throughout the year. Yeah, and our communication staff, of course.
Emily, who is some of the partners for this? I know that maybe it's on the website for the conference.
We get support through a wide variety of agencies. NRCS is one of our premier sponsors. Farm Credit is sponsoring our keynote, and those are sponsorships that pretty much are traditional year after year. A lot of our government agencies, like one of my colleagues mentioned, come and head up exhibit tables, which allows people to kind of take advantage of what services they have to offer when they get back home that maybe they're not familiar with. Many of our conservation districts host conference scholarships, and some of our other sponsors, Nationwide is one, being it's a risk management conference, insurance, always good to give a little plug there. And I think those are our main ones. West Virginia Department of Agriculture also is sponsoring one part of our conference as well. So we're really, really thankful for those partnerships and opportunities that allow us to give this conference at a pretty low rate compared to some of our peers in other states. We try really hard in Extension. We know that our farmers are largely part-time farmers, so finances are something we really keep in mind. So we work really hard with our partnerships to be able to keep that rate low and affordable.
Yeah,
So,
are there, oh, go
just
ahead.
to give a plug for the track sponsors, we did that rotates sometimes from year to year, but we do have a new sponsor, the USDA transition to organic partners or organic partnership
Organic partnership program. It's a mouthful.
Yeah, and the WVU Davis College is helping us out with a track
Oh,
this year, and
cool.
also the Coalfield Development Refresh Appalachia group. So that's also, I mean, we really appreciate every sponsor, and every little bit helps, as Emily said, to keep our cost affordable.
Yeah, and Emily, what states that are close to us, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, Virginia, do they have Women in Ag Conference or a big Women in Ag / Annie's Project programs?
I'm going to have to kick that over to somebody else to answer. A little
Okay.
incapacitated. I'm
Well, I
sorry.
just wondered if you guys network a lot.
Yes, we go to a lot of national conferences. Ohio has a big Women in Agriculture program. In Maryland, we've actually did some partnerships with them.
Okay.
And we based, when we were starting Annie's project here, in we were doing some case studies or just testing. We worked with the University of Vermont and Maryland
Okay.
to get that started. I'm not as familiar with the with Pennsylvania's Women in Ag program, or Virginia. I know that Virginia has really active have a really active Agri-Women Association, which is a national group that caters to female farmers.
Daisy, do we get a lot of FFA youth that attend the conference?
It varies from year to year. It really depends on when our date is and when the conference is, but we've
Okay.
had a handful of FFA members throughout the years attend.
And of course, well, them or when you say the student rate, is that like a high school student, even college student, somebody at
Yes, high
WVU?
school student. Yep. Somebody that's enrolled in school
And
can get
and
the
a lot of
student rate.
a lot of times the Davis College will bring a van down of people when we get some folks from Potomac, WVU at Potomac State. So we do get that student participation, and then there'll be some participants that bring their children with them. In the past, we've had kids programs. I don't think we're offering that at this year's conference, but just to give more flexibility if they do have childcare needs, that was something we addressed in the past.
Yeah, I see in the tracks there's several. Know that we have our own Big Dave McGill is teaching a class, and you have another one with the Shady Grove Botanicals. I thought that was pretty interesting. She's growing ginseng, golden seal, bloodroot. Anybody know anything about the Carol Daniels with the Shady Grove Botanicals? Or maybe some of our other speakers. I know that we have several.
I just know that's something that is of interest. Botanicals and herbs is something that our women have mentioned several times that they enjoy growing and want to learn more about. Carol comes from Randolph County, so she's close by, and she's been forest farming since the early 90s. So she really has a lot of knowledge about medicinal herbs and the 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 different agroforestry products that you mentioned. She's going to be talking about that in depth and just how they're used in Appalachia, and just how she has found a way to add value to those products that she grows and has success with.
Yeah, and there's some really good horticulture speakers that I see here from the um, Glasscock's Produce in Berkeley Springs, and there's another lady that does high tunnels here, Julie Schaefer, in Putnam County. Is it Share? But that's always a big thing. A lot of these, of course, we're still be able to get the grants with the high tunnels, and that's a growing segment here for. We're always growing a lot more produce. I know that you have one, right, Brandy?
Yeah, and in addition to getting the USDA grants, we also have Northeast SARE as a partner, which stands for Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education. Dee Sing Knights is on our Women in Agriculture team. She also is one of the co-leaders for the SARE project in West Virginia. So there's a lot of resources there to help not only women, but just West Virginia farmers in general look at some different on-farm research and partnerships with other agencies to improve their production practices and make those sustainable and just try out some new things, thinking outside the box. And I think that's ties in nicely with our conference, because we try to find speakers that are doing things that maybe somebody else hasn't thought about or have thought about but wouldn't know the steps, and bring those to light through those classes and things at the conference. So.
And Julie's a good example of that. She is certified organic. So she's specifically going to be talking about her journey to get certification. We get several women that ask questions in that field. Laura and her family does a lot of direct-to-consumer marketing in the horticulture field. So she'll certainly be talking about that. So I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but within each of our tracks, livestock, horticulture, finance, and our fourth, which this year is woodlands, we feature a female farmer as a speaker that's just pretty much solely talking about their operation, how they got started, how they market. And then they kind of talk about those details as it relates to each track. So Laura talking about her horticulture operation, our livestock speaker talking about her livestock operation. One of our finance speakers is talking about the finance part of her operation. And then Carol, that you mentioned earlier, is in our woodlands track, which is something that we've not done before. We're doing new this year because of where we're at in the state. We're hoping to draw in a lot of people that probably have sustainable substantial wooded acres, so they're able to kind of attend that track and figure out a little bit more maybe how to farm alongside of their forest.
Yeah, we especially maybe someone that has some bigger tracts of land too. We had the on Mountaineer Farm talking about the carbon credits as another income source for some of our forests and woodlands. But yeah, Emily, I'm looking here at the Liz Riffle from the Riffle Farms. I'd really like to listen to her. She's from up Terra Alta, Riffle Farms.
Yes, she has the bison operation. Yeah. I'm excited to hear her speak too.
Yeah, they're really a great lineup for the conference, and then of course we have Daisy's got all that good food lined up. What's for any of the snacks? Did you get any cheese or anything there, Daisy?
Actually, I don't. We are not going to do snacks this year, so we serve a lot of food, and it seemed like the snack table wasn't as visited at the end of the day. So we're just serving 3 really good meals. So
well, as long as they got good coffee, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Hey JJ, I wanted to, you were talking about Liz Riffle, and she's part of the West Virginia Agri Women. She's an
Oh, okay.
integral part of our board, and I wanted to just give a plug for people that are planning to attend the conference. We have a West Virginia Agri Women chapter in West Virginia, and I serve as a secretary on that. And we use the Women in Ag conference in the fall every year as one of our quarterly meetings. We tend to just get together every quarter. Our last time we got together was on the Preston County Farm Crawl up in Liz's neck of the woods. We took a summer tour up there, and our meeting's going to take place on Friday morning from 10:30 to 11:30, right before the tours kick off. So we'll be located in the Spruce Room. We'd like to invite anyone who'd like to join the membership and learn more about what the West Virginia Agri Women organization does to come and check us out at that meeting.
And
Now,
JJ,
what was this? Oh, go ahead.
JJ, you mentioned Julie Scher earlier. She is also works the veterans hospital down here in Huntington with their
Okay.
veterans ag program too. So we have some lady farmers or men in that area, that space. That may be something y'all want to ask her some questions about too as well.
Now say that again, veggie. What'd you say, veggie?
She is in the veteran. She is over or runs the veterans agritherapy program at
Okay.
Woody Williams VA Hospital in Huntington.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, another reason to get I can try to hit some of these people up from Mountaineer Farm Talk, do a little networking myself at this conference. When I always say that when I'm at a conference, they say, "Why are you here?" I'm like, "Well, I'm to meet people so I can have them on the program." I'm serious.
Hey, we'll welcome you with open arms, JJ. So you'll get to check out the mountain air and get some speakers to line up for the show.
Yeah, and I know that each of you have really emphasized that point and to drive that home, but I know that we always have a lot of these conferences. It looks like we have a great lineup of speakers, of different topics, things that we can learn through these workshops. But then that networking, I call it the meeting after the meeting, where people get together like, "Oh, I'm interested. Oh, I grow those too," or "How did you do that?" Or "Well, I this is how I," and just discussing. And not only that, but you get ideas. I'm not saying steal ideas, but you get ideas from what other people do, and try to implement those practices in your own farm. And then, like Brady was saying, then you kind of make contact with someone, and then you keep up with them. It's just a really great networking experience. Evan, do we have any questions from the audience?
No, I think the audience is us today.
Okay.
But we're now available. All these are available on podcast platforms as well for people to go back and listen to and download as they're cruising to Canaan or cruising the ball games this evening or whatever they're doing this weekend. So they're easy to find in the pocket now.
Awesome. Yes, and I guess who can help me with the Jennifer? How do we get, if someone out there wants to get signed up, will they just go to the website and get registered?
Yeah, that's what I would recommend is just going, and if they don't want to type in the whole link, I would just suggest Googling WVU Extension Women in Ag, and that will get you right where you need to be. And then you can take a look at the agenda and get signed up for the conference through that website.
And you all mentioned there's space for vendors as well. Do they just go to the website as well as register for vendor space, or do they need to reach out to one of you all for that, or Canaan?
Stacy Huffman is in charge of the vendors, so she's up in Mineral County.
Mhm.
So she's also just referenced on that website, so you can click on her contact information and it'll send an email directly to her. But I would, I'd probably pick up the phone and call her in Mineral County at this stage of the game because the vendor space is getting rather filled up. The other thing that we do for our participants is we put together a goodie bag where we have little take-home items that they can utilize on their farm, and information packets in the bag. So we'll leave that kind of as a surprise, and then we always
surprise.
give out. Hey, we can't tell everything that we're going to have.
Is there a pair of channel lock fencing pliers in there? Or?
Oh, you never know. Come and find out, JJ. If people are, we used to give out knives as our evaluation. to get people to turn in our evaluation for the conference. Each year we give a new knife, but this year we're giving out something different. I'm not really sure what the prize is. Maybe one of the other ladies have that. But it's definitely worth the trip. It's definitely worth filling out the evaluation so we can get the feedback and make the conference even better for the next year. But I do think we've, after almost 10 years at it, we do have the format down. We understand what our participants like, and we're hoping to attract new people to see what they like and want to learn about.
And to stay up to update, you all also have a Facebook page, right? For people to follow along and see about stuff.
Yeah, we do. So we give shout outs to our speakers and our sponsors, and we also post where you can register at and things like that.
Who are some of your all sponsors this year? Because I know they do probably a lot to help keep this conference affordable for producers to attend.
Well, I think that Emily went over some of those.
Emily mentioned those earlier.
I was thinking ahead of time.
Yeah.
Farm credit.
Yeah. And these have been our partners not only this year, but throughout many years of the conference. So they return and we work well throughout the year with them and other capacities as well. So really excited. It's kind of like a big family reunion when you get these conferences off the ground and come back together. You see the agency folks, you see farmers you've worked with in the past that maybe live on the other side of the state. So it's a good time to reconnect and make new friends too.
And speaking of this vendors list, what vendors you get signed up? What can we look forward to seeing there? What companies?
Well, I know one agency I'm really excited about, and I know it's kind of dry, but it involves statistics. But NASS, National Agriculture Statistics Service, we as Extension, we provide these crop weather reports, and they do a lot of reports on prices and inventory in the state. And they put together the annual bulletin that tells us all the where the different numbers are. But I just like to see them because they have recently concluded the latest census of agriculture. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon at the beginning of 2024 or somewhere there in the early part of the year. So looking forward to talking with them and seeing when all that stuff's going to be released and what the numbers are looking like. And they do the census every 5 years. So that's one of my companies. So I'll let somebody else speak on other vendors that they're excited to see there.
Well, I'm sure that some of your sponsors are going to be there, some of the conservation agencies, Farm Credit.
Yes, Farm Credit will be there. Usually the Department of Agriculture. Sometimes FSA comes, Farm Service Agency. I believe the Coalfields Development that Brandy talked about. Also having a table. The West Virginia Food and Farm Coalition. So a lot of our agencies come together in one place, and then our participants can figure out who's the best agency to go to with each of their respective issues. But I'm with Brandy. I'm super excited for the new census data to come out. Maybe I'm just a nerd too.
Hey, fun fact, it's posted.
Is it really?
Is it really?
I
well, wasn't there last week.
Are you talking about the big book they send us?
No, that's
the U.S.
Okay, I found the state stuff the other day for this year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the annual bulletin that they put out, but every 5 years they do the census of agriculture. That's what we base a lot of our farm policy and
right. I think they said February for that one because I asked.
Yeah. It's exciting, but we also since I'm a part of the Women in Agri-Women Association, I have to give a plug. We're going to have a table. So if you can't make it to the 10:30 meeting on Friday morning, there's going to be some representatives from our association there to stop by and visit with as well.
Cool. Now, Emily, you had said that you've had this conference all over the state. What are I know that was it Glade Springs? You've had it at Stonewall Jackson, which was a little bit closer for me, but what are some of the other places that you've had the conference at?
Can I speak to this, Emily? Because I think one of our most unique locations was when we used what is that?
Camp
The
Dawson.
Mountaineer Challenge
Camp
Academy?
Dawson, yes.
Camp
Yes,
Dawson,
Camp
Preston
Dawson.
County.
Yeah, I mean that was a neat venue, and what's nice there, they had a big like co-op like group that did a lot of um, food processing with the academy, and they serve the Preston County schools. So we had those folks at that conference talking about their successes with the farm to school program and farm to institution. So that was a fun year, and just seeing what that facility looked like. And it's really neat if you ever get the
It was a
opportunity.
really nice facility. Their classroom space. We had an auditorium for our keynote. It was pretty unique to be able to get there, even though you had to show your driver's license to get on base. But that was a fun part too.
Okay, well, the where was Camp Dawson? Where's it located at?
It's part of Preston County. It's on the other side of the Reedsville Farm, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's near Kingwood. It's a little bit outside of Kingwood.
And we really have tried to look at venues in other parts, like the very tip. We've looked at Cacapen, is it Cacapen Springs State Park? We like state parks because they're affordable as far as the lodging goes, but
Right.
sometimes that's not doable for the space. And we went up to Ogilby in Wheeling. That was a really nice place to host a conference
Oh yeah, I
too.
bet because all the festival of lights are kicking on before long too.
Yeah.
Yes, we were there around that time too. So we always have the conference in late fall. The past couple of years, it's been the weekend before Thanksgiving, which has been a nice opportunity for us. We're usually close to some other agriculture conferences too, so we hope folks make the time to attend everything they can as things start to slump off in the growing season a little bit.
Now, do we get any people from other states? Maybe considering Canaan as far over as that is, we get people from Virginia or some of the other states down there, out of state people that
We do have
come to
a
the
few
conference?
folks coming from Maryland this year.
Oh, okay.
Maryland, Delaware has a pretty active women in agriculture program. I think we also have a few coming from Virginia. When we were up in Ogilby, we had more from Pennsylvania and Ohio, since we were right there up in the tippy top in their backyard as well. Actually, I think a couple of our farm tours did go to Ohio that year.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, just being in with the communications, we try to share that with our colleagues in other states to get them to come to West Virginia, because once they see the beauty of our state, hopefully they'll want to come back more often and stay a while.
Yeah, and Brandy, you'd mentioned that the National Annie's Project Conference, is that one of the one in St. Louis? That's the one you guys went to this year?
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go due to family obligations, but yes, D. Sing Knights went down and represented us. There was some things that you could see virtually, and they had a lot of roundtable discussions. So just looking forward at the next steps for Annie's Project. We've developed like a stage 2, like after you go through the initial course of Annie's Project, that focus more on like farm succession and estate planning, just looking at that as a real need for our family farms and the aging population of farmers in general, and trying to get our participants to think about, just planning for the future and what they're going to do with the farm, once they've decided to retire.
Right.
Which a farm transition's a big piece too for a lot of people, all of our producers, because they're like, we have a guy now, he's called, he's like, what do I do with my farm? I don't have anybody in my family interested in doing it. I don't have any heirs that would be even thinking about doing it. What do I do with it from here on? And it's just a big worry for a lot of people.
Right. And the fact that, there are younger producers out there that are willing to link up with the existing farmers. I'm thinking, it ties in nicely with Extension's efforts to get new and beginning farmers up and going. I know Lisa is also on our Women in Agriculture team, Lisa Jones with the Small Farm Center. She's worked a lot with the farm linking, trying to get the land that people have available to the farmers that are looking to keep their land and farms instead of development, per se.
Yeah, we've had here in Wood County, I have a couple farmers within the last 3 years that have worked with the farmland preservation program in West Virginia. So then I know that one of the farms doesn't have an heir, but whoever buys it will have to continue to farming. So that's an option sometimes for those. And that we had a lady come to our farmer's short course and talked about that. West Virginia. Her name escapes me right now, but she's been here a couple times here into Parkersburg. But I want to get, before we run out of time, I want to give everyone a chance to talk a little bit about why we should come to the conference, maybe a little wrap up, and I'll start with Daisy. Maybe just some final advice before we leave about the 2023 Women in Ag Conference.
So if you're not registered, we hope you get registered soon to come to the conference. Also, always check the weather for Canaan before you leave to see what kind of clothes you need to bring. We are at a higher elevation. It can be colder, so sometimes dressing in layers, especially for the farm tour portion, is needed because we kind of start off cooler and then we get warmer and then we get back to cool again. So we hope to see you there, and
get out the car hard.
Safe travels up. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll move to Jennifer for a final thought.
Yeah, definitely dress for the weather. Last year I was not, unfortunately, so I got really cold. But last year was actually my first year at the conference. I had, heard about the conference, but had other things going on almost every time that was going on before. So last year was a really fun year to be at the conference, and I'm really looking forward to this year. And like Daisy said, be sure you get registered as soon as you can. And if you have any questions about the conference, give your county extension agent a shout, and they can either point you in the right direction or answer any questions that you might have if you're a little hesitant about the conference and just need to know a little bit more.
Emily, final thoughts?
I'll say there was one year we gave out in our goodie bags earmuffs, and those were very popular because it was cold that year. So hopefully people will break those out if they're repeat attendees. The conference is a really fun time. I love getting together with other women that have similar interests. I always learned from those people that we interact with while we're there. The sessions, we work really hard to provide really engaging sessions and a variety of speakers. We do the same with our farm tours. So, and we work really hard to make sure the conference changes in some way every year. So there's always something new to learn and something new to come to. So I encourage people to come. I'm actually roped in a couple of my producers. This is the first time it's been close to us. Usually it's like 3 hours away. It's a short drive for me now. So I roped in a couple of them to come with me, and they said, I've always wanted to go, and I don't have an excuse now. This is the time to go. So I'm literally putting them in the car, and they're coming with me on this turn, and we're all really excited about it. So I hope folks, when it is in their area, in their backyard, like a lot of people it is now, we haven't been in this eastern region for a few years, they take the opportunity to go because you're going to have a great time, and the food's delicious every single time. Props to Daisy on all that work.
Yes, thank you, Daisy. And I'll wrap up with Brandy.
So I was just thinking about a unique opportunity that these participants of the conference will have. We tried out a little bit of the quiz bowl atmosphere last year by letting teams sign up. We're just going to have a big group participation interaction this year during Friday night's dinner. So I would encourage the producers to come out and check that out and be part of that experience. It's fun. It's entertaining. If you like game shows, it's kind of that type of format. And
is Steve Harvey hosting?
Do what?
Is Steve Harvey hosting?
No, I don't think we got him on the venue, but I
think Dee Signites, who's equally entertaining.
Dee, and she's very entertaining. Yes.
There you go.
And as Emily said, I'm willing to carpool. I'm always trying to get producers in my area to attend as well. It's a little hike across the mountain. So if anyone's on the fence because they're not sure they have somebody to go with, call us up and we'll get you there.
Cool. Well, as we finish up here, Evan, I hit the flea market again on Sunday afternoon. So I got the throwback artist of the week is Merle Haggard.
Merle Haggard.
Go Where the Lonely Go from the late 70s.
I
And
did
of course,
see
go ahead.
we've got a new up and comer. He's pretty big mainstream now in West Virginia. Charles Wesley Goodwin. He's got some record albums now. I saw he's got one that's gold and blue, and then the other one's blue and gold, depending on which one you buy. It's the 7mm records. That's kind of cool to see those back out and running around.
Well, I think this is Jennifer's. Jennifer, is this the first time on the program for you?
It is.
Oh, so, well, my dad said there was two types of music, country and Western. So I need to know who your favorite country music artist is.
Well, right now I really do like Charles Wesley Godwin. I'm looking forward to seeing him when he's in Morgantown in December. It was a kind of a splurge and this is my Christmas present to me. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, he sold out 3 shows up there, I think.
Yeah.
He from West Virginia?
Yeah, he's from Morgantown. He went to Morgantown High.
Cool. Cool. Daisy, who's your favorite country music artist?
Oh, I'm old school. I like some Garth and some George Strait
There you go.
and Conway Twitty.
Oh, hey, Conway Twitty. He's pretty awesome. He's a crooner. Emily, who's your favorite? I think she told us before. I can't remember. She's been on here a couple
Garth is always my favorite.
Yeah. Big Garth.
I always love a little
Oh.
Brad Paisley though too.
Yeah, well, he's from West Virginia, correct?
Up near her neck of the woods.
That's right. He's from Glendale.
And Brandy, since she's part of the Women in Ag team, we'll let her chime in on her favorites. It's not Dolly Parton, is it?
I'm very indecisive, but lately I've been listening to Jelly Roll like crazy. I might be going to Nashville to see him in concert. He was in Charleston. I missed him. But because it's the Women in Ag conference, I have to go with Miranda Lambert and Carrie Underwood, 2 of my favorite female
Miranda Lambert. Yeah, I like Miranda. She's got some cool songs.
Oh, Kerosene.
Brandy, it's funny that you said Jelly Roll because Wyatt is currently like obsessed with his music. And when I told him what the name of the artist was, he's like, Jelly Roll.
It's
so
Have you seen a
bizarre, I
picture?
know, but I'm obsessed with his songs too, right at the moment.
Was he at the state fair?
Yeah, I think so.
This year? Well, he was in Charleston on October 3rd.
I think you're thinking of Hardy.
Yeah, Hardy was a state fair. I don't think maybe Jelly Roll was at Ohio State Fair, and I saw that stuff posted.
The big Jelly Roll. Well, we've run out of time, but again, I want to thank our special guest as part of the Women in Ag Conference, the Women in Ag team here in West Virginia, for coming on the program. We got Daisy Bailey, Jennifer Friend, our own Brandy Brabham, and then Emily Morrow. So thank you for coming on the program today as our special guest. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for talking about the conference. It's one of our favorite events of the year.